Hey everyone, my name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at some I Don't Work Here Lady stories, so sit back, relax and enjoy. Karen mistakes me for my brother and flips out. So, a little bit of background info. The other day I was going to where my brother works, this somewhat high-end restaurant. He works as a waiter and we are only about 2 years apart and look somewhat familiar but not super alike. Anyways, he had left his phone in my car before he started his shift, so I was bringing it to him. I was dressed up in a button-down and a green tie with a jacket and khakis, and the waitstaff wears black pants and white button-down shirts with black ties. So I was not dressed similarly to them at all. Okay, so on to the story. I was texting one of my brother's co-workers to try and figure out where my brother was as I was waiting in the lobby. I was sitting down on the bench because he was taking forever, which was expected because he was waiting on several tables at the time. Since I figured it would take a while, I decided to check Instagram. Then, after about 5 minutes, this woman walks up to me, and I kid you not, she is the definition of a Karen just based off her looks. I mean, she was the whole package. The short, spiky hair, the Goyard purse, the Michael Kors watch, the snakeskin shoes, and even the innocent kid and husband by her side. Anyways, this lady stands right above me like 4 inches away from me, so I'm already uncomfortable. She is just standing there staring at my phone as I scroll through my Instagram feed. I moved down the bench a little bit because I thought maybe I took her seat or something. I don't know. I'm not the most confrontational person in the world, so I didn't say anything right away. After I move over, she also moves over and continues to stare at my Instagram feed. At this point, I can't stand the awkwardness, so I put my phone down and look up at her and kindly ask, "Can I help you with anything?" She looks absolutely furious after I say this. She then proceeds to tell me in the most sarcastic and aggressive tone, yes, you could get back to work and get me my dang food. While she says this, she points her finger in my face, almost touching me. I then tried to explain to her that I don't work there and how I was bringing my brother his phone and I was dressed up for a date that I had later that evening. She continues to tell me how I'm trying to sell her BS and she's not gonna buy it, and how I shouldn't take my break in the middle of waiting tables, and how lazy and disgusting of a human being I am. Those were her exact words. At this point, she's not really yelling, but she's talking really, really loud, and this gets the attention of the host, and she steps in and tries to explain to the Karen that I don't work there. And now her husband is trying to calm her down, and the kid is just left alone at their table. My brother is still nowhere to be found, and my anxiety is shooting through the roof. So I'm getting chewed out by this Karen I've never even seen before, and the poor host is doing her best to defuse the situation, and Karen is just not having it. At this point, she starts straight up yelling and says something like, "You shouldn't be defending this lazy bum just because he's your boy toy," to the host, and believe it or not, she says those 5 famous words. "I need a manager now." So the host calls the manager over, but he was already on his way after hearing the yelling, and at this point everyone is looking at us, and my brother has finally found his way over to me. The manager shows Karen my brother and reassures her that I don't work here, and tells her that she needs to either calm down immediately and go back to her table, or leave the restaurant. She then says this is a waste of her time and that we were trying to trick her into thinking I was her waiter and trying to make her mad. She then throws $30 in my face for the food they ordered and stormed out with her husband and kid following frantically behind her. Her husband stays back for a second and says he's so sorry about her behavior and explains that she didn't take her medicine the past 3 days, and then gives my brother an extra $15 as a tip. I explained to my brother and his manager exactly what happened and why the Karen was flipping out, and finally I give my brother his phone. The manager thanks me for handling the situation responsibly and apologizes for me having to go through that. I tell him it's no big deal, but he still gives me a coupon for 2 free meals, so that was a bonus at least. This whole thing happened a couple months ago, and my brother still works there. He said he hasn't seen her there since. I always like it when the husband stays back and's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry about that, but the extra money's nice. I hope his date went well." No, Karen, you can't stuff a rabbit in a hamster cage. Just for context and why our Karen here might have thought I worked there. I was in a pet shop today. Despite being 20, my mum was shopping for our pet supplies while I was awing over the cute animals, when I see a guinea pig that seems sick. The employee gets him out for a checkup and asks me to hold him while she goes to get the in-house vet. I spend a lot of time in there and have gotten all my past pets there, so the employee knows I can safely hold a guinea pig. A lady with a young child comes to me, and the kid seems to want to see the guinea pig, so I just crouch slightly so the kid can pet him. Karen, not her real name probably, says to just let him hold the guinea pig. I say sorry, no, I'm just holding on to him for a minute. She rolls her eyes cartoonishly and drags the kid away. I think no more of it for a while. The queue is quite long to check out, since it's a week now till Christmas. Everyone wants to get their last-minute pets gifts and treats. The vet comes and takes the guinea pig, who seems to have brightened up now, so thankfully he's probably okay. I'm now wandering aimlessly around saying hello to the rats and hamsters, probably my favorite animals and have had many of as pets. So when Karen comes and asks me which type of hamster is the friendliest, I answer her without thinking. The employees are all pretty busy, so I really don't mind talking about small furries where I can. We talk for a few minutes about whether hamsters are good pets for kids at all. I'm honest with her, I don't think they are. I suggest she looks at the easier to handle animals like rabbits and guinea pigs. Coincidentally, larger, calmer animals are often more expensive to care for as they eat more and need more space. Duh. Then Karen surprises me by demanding, "Okay then, we'll take one of those," pointing to the rabbits, and a cage points to the hamster cages. I pause for a second to process what she just asked. I just say I don't work here, I just love pets, but that cage is nowhere near big enough for a rabbit, and that rabbits like to live in pairs. She insists it would be fine for a rabbit that small. Karen, I don't know if you know this, but they grow up. I try to be polite, but the kinds of people who irresponsibly buy pets for kids and know nothing about the animal care really annoy me. A lot. The amount of rescue hamsters I've had because, "Oh, I didn't know they were nocturnal," or, "But they fight when I put in groups," is disgusting. And I worried a little that a poor rabbit was going to end up back at the shop in 2 weeks. I gesture towards the rack of animal care leaflets. It took me months to decide what pet I wanted. This place will be quieter after Christmas too. Then the employees will have more time to answer you. She cuts me off, suddenly fuming. She goes on a rant about how I must be earning commission as I tried to sell her a more expensive animal and then tried to make her get two and an expensive cage. This pet shop has a policy of only selling social animals in pairs or more, so without proof of already having rabbits, she wouldn't be able to buy just a single one anyway. I've had trouble buying an extension hamster cage in the past, having to show photos of my cage setup, and all before they let me get it. Apparently, some people mistake extension cages for full-size ones. The employees here really do care about the animal's welfare, that's why I keep coming back. Look, do what you want, I don't work here at all. I only care that the animals are happy. Pet care isn't cheap. The kid this whole time has been trying to entertain himself by poking his fingers in the rat cage. Luckily, none of them bit him. Karen seems to be completely oblivious to what her kid is doing. I just go back to enjoying looking at the animals, and I can see Karen fuming like a pressure cooker as she stomps off to a poor employee who was just cleaning cages. My mum comes back, now paid for the supplies, and we start to walk out of the shop as I can hear Karen whining to an employee about her conspiracies that I'm there to sell more expensive animals in cages. Oh no, I really hope she does some extra research or just doesn't get a pet, like, some people should just not have them. Even if I did work here, I couldn't help you. So I was at Lush yesterday looking for Christmas presents. I was there on my lunch break, so I was dressed in my work uniform. A chiffon blue top and black pencil skirt, which for the record looks nothing like the Lush uniform. Now, even though I was wearing heels, I am maybe 5'1" at a real stretch. So I'm standing with my items and kinda looking a little distracted because I'd just gotten off a phone call and was trying to remember what else I needed when this girl comes up to me. At Lush, some of the products are made in giant soap cake/circles. Lumps? I don't know, but you have to get a staff member to cut you off a slice of soap. There was one such product on a shelf that was very high above my head. Someone of average height would probably have to stretch for it. This girl, without even looking at me, says something. Silence because I didn't realize she was talking to me. She then looks at me and gives me that kind of eyebrow raise/head tilt face of someone wanting something. I'm like, oh no, she's talking to me. So I say, sorry? And she says, I said I need 2 slices of this product. No please, and she never said sorry to me. It takes me a second to click, but I'm like, oh, I don't work here, sorry. She just looks at me blankly and says, okay, can you still get me my soap? I look up at the shelf and I'm like, not really? Because aside from the fact that I obviously can't reach it, I don't have any way of cutting it, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be allowed to. She still looks like she's about to say something, but I was in a hurry, so I just moved to the register and started paying for my stuff, which happened to be right on the other side of her. She's still looking at me the entire time I'm paying. I go to leave and she's still just standing there watching me go. Was a very strange experience and I'm not sure if she got her soap, but at least I got my stuff. Legend has it she's still standing there to this day, waiting for someone to cut her soap. Didn't get arrested because the officer thought I did work there. This happened about 6 years ago, right before my old car gave up the ghost. The turn signal knob had gotten caught on my coat about a week prior to this, and had snapped completely off, sadly taking with it my ability to turn on my headlights. I was leaving my job that night and had been parked up at the road. As I had needed to do for the previous week, I brought a pair of needle-nosed pliers with me so that I could jam them in the steering column where the turn signal knob used to be, and manually turn on the headlights. As luck would have it, I had a bit of trouble getting them off on that night, but managed to turn them on right as the police cruiser drove past me on the road. He must have seen my butt half hanging out of the car, jamming something into the steering column, because as he rounded the corner and went out of sight, I saw reflections of red and blue lights flashing in the trees. Not putting two and two together, I hopped all the way in and got buckled up and shut the door. Next thing I know, I saw that same car go whooshing past me at top speed in the opposite direction. Still not figuring it out, I just pulled out and started heading home. In my rear view, I saw the cop slam on his brakes and pull a U-turn right as I started to pull into the gas station a few doors down from my job. As I get out of the car, the cop comes flying up into the parking lot and locks it up right behind my car. Then he rolls down the window, squints at me and says, "Oh, I guess you work here, huh?" And then he backs out and leaves. It wasn't until I went into the gas station that I realized he thought I was stealing the car. But when he saw me in my khaki slacks and red polo shirt, dressed exactly like the cashier was, he figured nobody would steal a car to drive to work. I almost got arrested, but I was saved because I didn't work there. But I looked like I did. That has got to be one of the most unique and funny stories I've read on this subreddit in a while. I like that. Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more videos like it, then click on screen right now. And if you never want to miss out on a video, then hit subscribe. But I will see you all very soon.